All right. Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Nice to see everyone is being entering the webinar of Future of SEO and how brands in the Benelux are successfully leveraging AI search. So please give us a warm welcome in the chat, of course, and then we will happy to start with our webinar. All right. Thanks for all your eyes and welcomes. All
Welcome,
right.
everyone.
Let's kick off then.
Yeah.
All right. So for those who don't know us yet, we're IO, of course. We are known as a blended agency. Why is it? Because we have talented in different industries like marketing, technology, content, strategy, and so on. We're quite a big company with more than 2,000 experts divided over 12 different campuses, 5 different countries, and more than 20 industries. So in this case, of course, we talk about geo and SEO. And of course, to introduce myself shortly, my name is Jens. I'm the domain lead of SEO in the Netherlands. And then next to me, my colleague Clarissa, who is, of course, SEO lead in the Netherlands. All right. Before we start, good to know. So we have a chat. You can already see you're making use of it. So perfectly. So drop your questions in there. We will follow up on them. The webinar is being recorded, so you will receive the recording afterwards. And then, of course, if you're interested in the slides, please reach out, and then we can provide them as well. On the agenda, so actually 4 main parts. The first one is a short introduction about how generative engine optimization is reshaping today's search landscape. Then we're going to tackle the research we did about all brands who are already receiving thousands of visitors through AI-powered search engines. Part 3 is about geo and SEO and how geo is complementing your existing SEO strategy. And then we will end with a conversational search for data insights, where we have a couple of nice projects to show. And a small note before we start, you're going to see a lot the word LLM, and we're going to talk about LLM, but please be aware, we mean it as a generative search engine. So definitely it's something else, but in this case, it's much shorter to use LLM, and therefore, we chose to do it with LLM. All right, Clarissa, up to you.
Yes, thanks, Jens. So, yeah, great to have you all here. I see many people are joining and more coming in. I want to start to talk with you guys about the future of SEO, because we see, of course, a lot of things are actually changing lately. Like every day there's news, there's new developments going on, especially, of course, regarding AI search, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all of these tools, which really are changing the way we are searching. So I want to take you through some of the most important developments that we've seen the past months. So we have the AI answer engines, AI tools, AI search engines, however you want to call it. And they are really changing the way that people are searching, right? This is a real huge change, because it's in one way it's changing the search behavior, so how people search, but it's also changing what people expect from a search engine, what kind of answers they expect to get. So it's actually a huge change. It's actually the first time since I've been in SEO for like 14 years, and this is like the biggest change I have seen so far, because for the first time in like 20 years, Google's position is being challenged, and they actually dropped below 90% of global search engine market share, which is actually a huge change. And this is, of course, because of all the AI search engines that are coming up, like ChatGPT, Perplexity, and all the other ones, but those are the biggest ones that we see at the moment. And this is, of course, quite challenging, because it's also affecting our organic search traffic. The way we are doing SEO is really changing because of this. So we really need to know what is going on. So we are actually shifting from keywords to conversational search, right? So we're not just searching with a few keywords like we used to do in Google. but we are really starting to have conversations with our search engines, with the AI. So queries are getting longer. So we're having way longer search queries or prompts that we are people are searching with. And also we're starting to have a conversation, right, with having follow-up questions and really starting to have a conversation with your search engine. So this is, of course, a huge change. Yeah, this research, you may have already seen it. Gartner, they predicted actually that search engine volume will drop by 25% by 2026. They predicted this last year, February. So that would be a huge change, right? Because then, yeah, the search engine volume would really make a huge drop due to the AI chatbots and all the other virtual agents that we are seeing coming up. I want to put a side note because, of course, we know Gartner also from their predicting about that by 2020, also 50% of searches would have been done by voice. So we know this didn't really happen. So they can sometimes make quite bold predictions, but it says something and it might go this way, of course. So we need to need to be aware of that. Yeah, and at least what we already see when we really look at the real actual data, we do see that AI tools are really rapidly gaining market share. So here you see how fast ChatGPT is actually coming up and growing. And later on, Jens will also show some real data, actual data of what we see happening in the market right now. But on the other hand, we still, at the moment, it's not like, okay, we only need to focus on ChatGPT right now. No, because of course, Google is still the biggest. And this is a research done by Spark Toro in 2020, over the year of 2024, where we would still see that Google is still the biggest. It's 373 times bigger than ChatGPT. So that's a lot. Of course, ChatGPT is growing. I think they even surpassed Bing right now, but still, it's a lot smaller than Google at the moment. Good thing to know is that Google is also changing a lot of things, right? So the traditional Google is actually already changing. We are seeing the AI overviews. You've probably seen them as well. We have seen them being rolled out the past few months in Europe, as in the Netherlands, in Belgium. We do see the AI overviews now more and more often within the search results. So also here, AI is making a huge change in the way we are searching. And yeah, so this is also resulting in less clicks, right? So we are more going to zero-click searches because for many informational queries, informational searches, the AI or Google AI overview is already giving the complete answer within the SERP, within the search results. So people, they start a conversation, they get their answer already within the AI. So they don't really need to click anymore to your website to get the information that they need or get the answers that they need. So this will mean, of course, less traffic because people are clicking less. And we have some data from the US where the AI overviews were already live much earlier than in Europe. And what we see there is actually that AI overviews are really reducing the traffic, right? So there, Ahrefs did a research and they said like 34.5% less clicks due to the AI overviews. So this can really have an influence also on your website traffic, right? So we'll see more data later on about this. And that's not everything that is happening. So, of course, we see the AI overviews. They are already there, but Google is also experimenting with their AI mode. And AI mode is actually it actually means that Google will become AI completely, just like a ChatGPT. And if this would happen and Google would switch completely to AI mode, then that would really mean the death of the blue links, right? Then there will be no more blue links and we will just have generated AI with citations. This is currently in an experimental phase in the US. So we don't have it here yet, but we can already test it and see it and how it's working. So yeah, these are things that are going on. And if, of course, Google would decide that we are going to switch to this completely, then that would have a huge impact on SEO and on your organic traffic. So that's not the only thing that is happening. So there's a lot more going on. Also, shopping can be influenced by this. So we are seeing like shopping getting integrated in, for example, AI, Google AI mode, what you see here, an example. So we can shop also with the AI and with help of the AI, which is doing, suggestions for products. Also, ChatGPT is actually looking to or working on integrating product feeds within ChatGPT. So this would also mean that we could do shopping within the AI. So that would also have, of course, an impact on e-commerce. So a lot of changes. Also, this, like I said, it will impact your website traffic. So this is a prediction from SEMrush that they did very recently, like this month actually. And they said like what we expect to happen is actually that traditional organic search will keep on declining even more. We will see LLM traffic go up and grow, but the most important finding is actually that the total web traffic will actually decline and it will become less by 2029, right? We see the total traffic going down. One thing that I want to point out, and that is important to realize, is that the LLM accuracy is not yet perfect, right? It can hallucinate, it can make up stuff, it can give answers that aren't really true. So here are some examples, right, where AI mode didn't even know which year it was, or it would advise you to smoke while you are pregnant, which is not a really good advice. So we still see some problems with that, and I think this is one of the most important issues right now. There are even researches that say 60% of the searches may be giving wrong answers. So within AI, so 60% of the answers may not be true. So this is still a huge issue that really the AI should be improved on. So hallucination is a big issue, but of course, what we are actually going to talk about today, of course, what are we going to do with this as a brand, right? The question is actually like, as a brand, how can you make sure that you perform better and that your brand will be found within the AI tools? So that's something that we're going to dive into later today. But first, we're going to look at some more data insights that we got from all of our clients. So I'll give it to Jens to take you through the data.
Thank you, Clarissa. Thank you, and really nice to see we almost reach the 300 people in the webinar. So really cool.
Oh yeah.
So Clarissa already made clear in the world a lot of things to say about, to predict about how traffic is being evolution of traffic of search. Of course, because at IO we can serve a lot of clients. To give some numbers, we served about more than 800 clients in BE and almost 600 clients in the Netherlands. So that gives us a lot of information, a lot of data to do some own analysis instead of looking at analysis of other countries or other parties. So to give you right away a big insight, actually, if we gather all traffic, all sessions from our clients, we could see that LLMs indeed are getting more and more popular. To give you an idea, I don't know if you can see it, but back in June 2024, there were all about 3,000 LLM sessions coming through LLMs through your website. By May this year, there was more than 100,023 sessions, sessions in a month. So actually, this means within a year, more than 120K sessions, and in percentage, it means 3,823% year-over-year improvement of search of LLMs. So quite a big number. But of course, compared to our organic traditional sessions, it doesn't mean much yet. If we compare it, you can see in average sessions organically through Google Bing traditional organic search covers with millions of organic sessions. I think an average is about 35 million for a month. Of course, compared with LLM traffic, it's still way lower. It actually, when we correlate it together, you can see it means 0.1, 0.2. In May, we reached out to 0.4% of organic traffic through LLMs. And when we did a small check for a couple of days in June, we could already see it reached the 0.4 number as well. So our prediction, of course, is in June it will still be even higher than 0.4, and we're really looking forward to see the exact number when we do it at the end of the month. Then, of course, we have different LLMs. The biggest one, as Clarissa already showed, is Perplexity, is ChatGPT, but we see other LLMs being there as well. Definitely, Perplexity is also gaining some traction by every month. So we can really see the biggest part is for ChatGPT, but again, other LLMs are getting traffic as well. Of course, we have different industry we serve, and it was also interesting to do some deep dive in industry of some clients of us. And then actually, when we started to check, because we see a lot of rising impressions, but most of the time reducing of clicks, we could see it in some industries. So for instance, the telecom provider, we saw there was an improvement in impressions. To quickly explain, it's really like that you're being showed in Google. Could be position 1, could be position 10, could be position 20, and it could actually mean there are more searches for your content, your topics, or there are you have better rankings, that you rank before less than the 100 first results of Google, and now you're in there, you receive more impressions. It could be a reason, but again, in clicks, that's actually the high value in there, that people really click on your page and then go through their website. So we could see it in the telecom sector, an example. Also financial client of ours, we could see it's more or less the same, but you can see by the end of April, the start of May, it started to decrease a little bit and the impressions were increasing. Now, of course, very interesting, Google is experimenting with it, AI mode, and of course, in the Search Console reports will be an AI mode as well. So very interesting. We're really looking forward in doing a deep dive in those kind of results to see in which kind of queries, in which kind of prompts AI results are being showed. And it gives us also more value, more information about the correlation between impressions and clicks. Then when we did on our own a little deep dive, for instance, on a platform that makes simulations, compares different websites, we definitely see a decrease in clicks and a small increase in impressions. We really do a small deep dive on the page level. We saw the overview pages where all the different clients are being exposed. We see the less clicks, a lower click-through rate, could actually mean, based on search intent, that users are getting more information from LLMs. They're asking LLMs to make the choice for them, which is the best telecom provider, which is the best energy supplier. So this is a very first idea that we could see from this client that we could see. Then a job platform, so looking for jobs, of course, we could see definitely last month big rise in impressions, very strong, and then of course in clicks they were being decreased. So again, we saw when we look at the keywords, general keywords like vacancies, vacatures in Dutch, we could see those received much more impressions, but of course barely clicks because it's too generic and not for them. So also in here, when we take a look at the organic and the LLM sessions, we could see the LLM sessions compared with last month's improved with 90%. So more sessions through, and we call it referral traffic. So you are found in LLMs, you click through to the website. That's actually what you see, an improved traffic from LLMs. And the organic classic was more or less the same, not that much lower, but still remarkable. And then finally, we take a look at the international B2B client, a real big client with a lot of data. We could see it started from January, so we could really see the impressions were increasing and actually the clicks were decreasing. Again, based on the sessions, when you see in a month more than 400 sessions from LLMs, it's actually a nice number of LLMs, and you see it's being used by many people. But important to make sure, when we take a look at, for instance, the conversions, and we take a look at, okay, we see rising impressions, we see declining clicks, but the conversion were not decreasing at all. So we could even see they were increasing as well. So that's a very important thing to take in mind. So actually, even though AI search would result in less traffic, it will bring more qualified visitors. People can find you in LLMs, can see your name, your mention, and again, it can really go through your website directly or through another way or through LLMs. People get to know you, and then of course you will end up with the conversion you like. All right, then a deep dive by country. Of course, we have clients in several countries. To give you an idea, we highlighted 4 countries in specific: Belgium, France, Netherlands, and Poland, and then we collected the rest to see who is the early adapter of LLM search. So then you can see it started very slowly in June, July 2024, but then starting from November, October, December, we see the sprints being there. And in this case, France is really leading the race, because the average ratio between LLM versus organic traffic is 0.7. Of course, me and Clarissa had a little question as well. Belgium versus the Netherlands, of course, and we could see that actually the Netherlands was a step before Belgium. So the LLM search adoption actually seemed 5 to 6 months before Belgium, so one step ahead of us. And to give you an idea, when we compare it again to organic traffic, so you can see as well for the Netherlands as for Belgium that organic sessions are kind of stabilizes. So you see a little bit fluctuation, but in overall, you see it doesn't improve or it doesn't go down much. You do see the LLM traffic being increasing enormously. So again, the Netherlands one step ahead, but of course in Belgium we will be there as well. All right, now a little theoretically part about how LLMs actually find your content. I think I read it a couple of times in the chat as well. But actually, imagine someone is asking a question in an LLM. What it actually does, the system, does it really need real-time information? No. Then you receive information from training data. Training data offline, a million tokens of text. It's trained in weeks, in months, in years. So it normally contains all the information it needs. Do they need real-time information? Then they have 2 ways of finding that information. The first one is to use search engine APIs. Most famous one are the APIs from Google and Bing, of course. But some of them also use their own scraped content, like Perplexity does. So how does it really work? Someone is asking a question. Let's say, what is the best car for me? Then actually it uses this training data to understand the question, to really get to know the search intent, the keywords. It collects its own set of keywords, and then it sends the queries to a Bing Search API or a Google Search API, so the crawlers can be launched. Then an example of that query could be something like this keyword, and then a site it knows it's well known for this industry. At IO, we have our own trained model, of course. It's Bonsai. It works with different databases of AI. And you see, if we ask it, okay, how do you search for this advice? How do you search for family car 2025? It actually explains. They use a tool, they scrape the web page, they search for 5 top results, they get the information, and yeah, it gives us kind of an insight how it really works. So what does a LLM receive back from the search query? It receives from Google and Bing the titles, meta descriptions, snippets, full pages if they're being indexed, and you see kind of result that also is being showed by LLMs is like you see in the example. So a lot of information they receive, and then of course they do something with it. And of course, then the question everyone has, how does it select its sources? I want to be the source. My website wants to be the source. A short answer, it's a combination of ranking, authority, semantic search. That's actually a short combination, but of course, I want to also give you a longer, detailed answer. And it could be one of these ways. So in this case, we do it for Perplexity. Perplexity uses historical authority scores. It uses Bing API. It looks for cited domains, high authority domains, domains with a lot of traffic, backlinks. So based on that, it knows it's trustable source. Also through training, it's possible. So through training, they know which domains are trustworthy and gave already answers to similar questions. Then they also look for websites who regularly updates content, publishes new content to make sure, definitely for data sensitive prompts, let's say 2025 or real seasonal questions where they need it. And then, of course, they also have a kind of curated list that they know in the training model which domains are very valuable in certain niches. So one of these is the reason why LLM is using your source or source of a competitor to make sure they have a right answer. Then a little about the bots. Can you exclude AI bots if you don't want to be in there? Unfortunately not, because we see often LLMs uses Bing or Google to retrieve information. So unless you block Google and Bing, there will also always be a possibility that LLMs can reach out to your content. A small test we did to prove it. So for 5 different industries, we take a look at the log files. We use the most popular crawl bots. In this case, was Mistral, OpenAI, the live version, Anthropic, Perplexity, Gemini. When we really focused on that, we could actually see there was only one appearing in the log files, and that was Perplexity. So Perplexity often was putting out a lot of requests. Sometimes it was position 16, 11, 12, that there was that popular. Of course, Bing, Google were the most popular visits, which could be made through LLMs requests. But again, Perplexity make use of their own crawl bots, and that's also a very interesting thing to see. So what do you need to remember? Most LLMs actually are using an existing source for their web queries, in this case, Google and Bing. They interpret your questions and create their own queries, like I showed in the example. And then, of course, their behavior is different from LLM to LLM, and it's not yet documented. So very interesting to test it with it, and we can also show some things about it. So how you can do it, will Carissa gladly explain.
Yes, great. So yeah, let's dive into it a little bit more, like what we now know that we can do to make our websites show up in LLMs more. Of course, we cannot be 100% sure of what we should do, right? It's all testing, it's evolving really quickly. So what we also need to do is continuously test and monitor and see what will happen. But there are some things that we already know that we can advise and that we know that we can do to help our website rank or get more visibility within the AI. So first let's talk about what we can't do. So of course you can't promise, like LLM work really differently than Google in the traditional way. So you cannot be 100% sure that your brand will always be mentioned, because the answers are every time someone asks the question, the answer is differently, and it's also personalized. So you cannot be 100% sure that you are always mentioned as a brand. But also it's hard to influence the direct output, because of course the LLM, they use your content, they use snippets or parts of your content to create the answers, but they also rewrite it and change it. So you cannot really influence 100% or like what the LLM is going to say about you. But of course you can influence some things and the inputs the LLM is using. So let's talk about what can we do. So we can call it GEO, Generative Engine Optimization. It's a name. It's being used for optimizing for generative engines like ChatGPT, Perplexity. So what you want to achieve as a brand. So this is an example of ChatGPT. What you want to achieve is, of course, that if someone would search, for example, the best digital agency, that as IO, we want ChatGPT, of course, to mention us, and that's what you as well want as a brand. So you want to be shown as a mention. You want to be listed. But also you want to include it within the citations, right? So when the LLM is going to do a web search, then you want to have it referenced to your website and include you in the citations on the right, in the sources, and also within the text, so that people can actually click and go to your website. So you want to be listed as a source. And the third one that is also pretty important is brand sentiment, because yeah, it's nice if it's talking about you or mentioning you, but if the sentiment it's talking negatively, or it's saying your brand is not that good and the other brand is better, then that's also not really a good thing. So you also want to have like a positive brand sentiment within the AI. So it's really recommending you in a positive way. Yeah, this is how it looks like, for example, in AI overview. Also there you want to have your website linked instead of downstairs, down in the blue links, which are now being pushed down further, right? So you also want to be listed up there so that people also can click to your website. So yeah, Jens already told a little bit about how LLMs work, but I want to dive into it a bit more just so that we understand how we can influence this. So yeah, like we said, like ChatGPT, Gemini, they are all getting data, they're getting information, they're doing web search, they're getting it from the database, from the original search engine. So ChatGPT is using Bing search, sometimes also Google, what we see now, but Gemini AI mode is of course using the Google database, and Perplexity is using actually some other external three-party crawlers to get the websites, the URLs. So also a thing is that most of the AIs are now working with RAG, which is retrieval augmented generation, which actually is a system that is created to prevent or to make the accuracy better, because I already told like there's a lot of things, low accuracy, wrong answers. And with RAG, it's actually using a system to make sure that the LLM is not only using its own training data, but it's also searching the web using knowledge sources to check their answers. So it's also using search for that. So I'm not diving into it in detail how it is working, but it's good to know that this system is behind the AI to make the accuracy better. Also, we have Google AI mode, of which we know that it's using query fan out. It's kind of comparable what other AIs do, but this is like actually how Google is stating that that AI mode is working. And most importantly to know here is that someone would do like a query, right? They would ask a question, like here, asking for sneakers for running a marathon. And they would ask very long query, really personalized of what they need. Then actually the AI, Google AI mode would actually break it up into a lot of different aspects that are important to answer this query. And per aspect create subqueries, sub-searches to find information. So the subqueries are actually the kind of the keywords, or how you want to call it, that the AI is doing, the searches that it is doing. So the most important thing to understand is that it's not like we used to do one search and get your answers, but it's doing like 6 to 7 or even more searches at the same time simultaneously to find the answers to the question and look at websites and get the information that it can use to provide the direct answer, or the answer to the question. So that's good to know. So there's a lot of more questions related to one search. Also, what I want to point out is, so like, yeah, we know the LLM is actually using the traditional search database, and there's been some research as well that is showing that actually traditional SEO still matters, because of course it can help if you are already performing well in a regular search. You have more opportunity to also be cited within AI search. And it's not a one-on-one like, oh, you are ranking #1, you will be mentioned, because also the relevance and all other things are important. But it does help. In this graph, you can see that if you are like in top 10 results, you have a bit more chance, a bit more opportunity to be cited within the AI as well. All right. So I want to deep dive a little bit more in what we can do. So how can you optimize your website and make sure you have an opportunity to be mentioned or be listed within the AI? first one is the technical part. So Jens already told us, right? We need to be, well, not excluded from the AI tools. We need to make sure that the AI can actually see your website, can crawl it, and also see the content that is on the website. So it's not, of course, this is most of the things are actually also important for regular traditional SEO. So there's a lot of things that overlap and are almost the same, but there are some specifics that we can point out that are really important for the AI. For example, yeah, so we have not only Google bots now crawling your website, but it's also other bots like the GPT bot and the bots of the other engines. And the most important thing is that they all work quite a bit differently. And we need to make sure that the content on the website is actually accessible for these AI bots. So, for example, JavaScript, ChatGPT cannot really render it. So if ChatGPT cannot see your website, then it's not going to see the content that is there. So those are some important things to point out. We also have LLM.text. We listed it here. I wouldn't say put it on every website because it's still unclear if this is going to be like really important, but it's like the robot safe for LLM. So we need to keep an eye on it anyways to see if it's going to be the standard or not. So just that we are aware. So make sure AI can see your website. Also important is to build internal relationships. So it's really clearly structured, your website, internal linking, so that the AI can really understand the content and find all the content that is important. So that's the technical part. And also we have the content part. So how do we say stuff? And from a content level, it's even more important. It's becoming even more important to focus really on the quality. So we don't want all the content that is all saying the same information. The AI really wants to see content that is unique, really has new information, really has updated content, right? Your content needs to be up to date. It needs to be qualitative. It needs to have really unique and good information. So that's what we think that is really important. Also EEAT, which is the framework from Google, which I'll tell you a bit more later. Also, some other things, cover the topics deeply, make sure you have really, especially because of personalization, it's important to really have good information that is really relevant to all your audiences. That is important. And I'm also pointing out the unique data, because the AI can make the content itself that is all the standard information. Really, having the unique insights is important. So if your company has like data insights, good unique information that you can share, then I would really recommend to do that, because that's really important. EEAT, I'm not going to dive into this for now in detail because we don't have the time, but Google really, of course, Google, and also for AI, it's important to have like copywriters or authors that or brands that have real world experience, expertise within the topic, authoritativeness and trustworthiness. So I'm not going to dive into those in detail, but we have like a very long blog on our website, which really dives into what EEAT is and why it is important. So if you want to know more about that, you can really start looking at our website and read more about it on how to implement EEAT on your website and within your content. Good. Yeah, we have a lot of information. So then the next one that I want to tell you a bit more about is mentality and how you say it. So not just we talked about what kind of content do you need, but also how do you do the copywriting, right? How do you write the content? Also there we have some advice. So most importantly is to make it more conversational, right? In a conversational way, so that you are really answering all of the questions that your audience has. So long texts are fine, but make sure also that the content is really good structured, because the LLMs or the AI, if you use an AI, you see that they only use small parts from every website. So it's really important to have like the content structured in a really understandable and logical way. So that's important for the AI, but it's also, of course, important for the user if they would read your content. And using semantically related keywords is also one of the things that we recommend. So having really complete content that is really covering a topic in the best way possible. Also, I've got the first point, but it's important to answer questions, right? Conversational writing, answer questions, make sure that you know which questions are there, and the more specific, the better, because that's what AI is trying to do. Answer questions that are really personalized for the person that is asking those questions. So incorporate FAQ and answer questions in the content. That's a real recommendation. Also research which questions we have. So, okay, I have to go on. And yeah, make sure that you are also being the authority, because LLM is not just checking your own website where you say that you are the best company, but it's also checking other websites. So make sure that your brand is also listed in external citations, external websites, Wikipedia. AI also use Reddit a lot, especially Google is doing that. And we also have other comparison websites. And of course, regarding the brand sentiment, make sure that you have positive reviews. So one small part that I want to talk about, I just saw already a lot of questions about the part of the tracking, like how can we track our performance, how we are performing right now in AI. And yeah, unfortunately, tracking is still limited, and also data is still limited, right? We don't have, like with traditional SEO, we would have search volumes, we would have data from Keyword Planner, from Google, providing all this information. We don't have this anymore. Or not yet. Of course, there are a lot of parties that are working on it, but it would be best if Google and ChatGPT would give us these insights themselves. And also tracking is still limited because it's really different than what we used to do with SEO. But there's a lot of companies working on this. So I already saw SEMrush and some other tools, RankShift, being mentioned in the chat. So there's a lot of tools that you can use to track your AI visibility, how many times your brand is mentioned for specific searches. And this is still going on to be developed even further. So yeah, we really need to make sure that we can measure it. But here are some tools that are working on this. Here's how RankShift looks, where we can see one of our own clients being a number 2 and doing it really well when you look at the brand visibility, which you could track within this tool. Then one last final thing that I want to point out regarding the tracking is that also in IO we are working on this. So for most of the clients, it's nice to have a tool, but it's even nicer to have also the data in your dashboard, of course, where you can just track it yourself. So what we also do is creating dashboards for our clients where they can track the brand visibility, the questions that are asked, how many times they are mentioned for these questions, and also the AI traffic that they are getting to their website, and which pages people are visiting then when they click. So there is some tracking already, but of course we hope we get more data in the future. Good, that was my part. So I'm going to give it to you back, Jens, for the final part 4.
All right, thanks, Clarissa, and thanks, by the way, for all the questions. We will get back to them at the end. So, last part, the big part, is about the conversational search. So, actually, what Clarissa has also mentioned is that we want to have as much data as possible. We want to see how people are looking for content, how what they really need, what their search intent really is. So that's actually the part where we did some things on our own to give a little bit of theory still is about how LLMs work. So again, it's a combination of natural language insights. So you can see how users are expressing their needs in complete sentences, not longer anymore in short tail keywords, but really they explore their real need. And then you can see the question is a pattern discovery, so you can really see and identify common questions on the website, for instance. So you can see what people are really looking for on your platform, not anymore by one keyword, two keyword, but really a long keyword called a kind of prompt that people are using. And then, of course, it's about semantic understanding. So you know what the user wants, and then to show the most the ideal answer to them. So again, conversational search data helps to create useful content that can be used for your users. So it can be if we see a lot of prompts being exposed in the function, we know, okay, we need to have some content in there that can answer that content and that question. And then, of course, it's interesting to train such a model within a content management system within your website to make sure you capture all the data, to call it kind of keyword research, but then prompt research to see what people are looking for, what they really need, and how popular those questions are. And then, of course, it's interesting to see what we can do with it. So to show you two cases. So the first one is actually for a financial client of ours, where we integrated an AI module, so where we could see what people are really looking for, what users are really looking for. And then, of course, based on those prompts, we can provide the right answers. Those answers needs to be trained. It takes a lot of time to make sure the website, the CMS, is showing the right information, correct information, but it shows in combination a lot of interesting data to see what your public or your users are really looking for. And then, of course, we have a very nice case. I want to show it with you. Is about a client of ours, locasis.nl, where we did the next thing. So we built actually an AI module that people could ask whatever they like. So it's in Dutch, the query, but it's actually meaning like, I want to have a meeting on the beach with my toes in the sand. It sounds a bit strange in the English, but that's actually the goal. And then, of course, it automatically creates a page with a title, with the intro, with some results of interesting locations. This is based by AI, and it immediately shows a page, an overview page. If we see the pages of the queries is being popular, so we see many people are asking these kind of questions, and they have a semantic correlation with each other. It's for us an indicator that we need to publish this page, that the page needs to be live. And then, of course, we have a very nice page that answers people's questions, their needs right away. So that's a very interesting case we are very proud of. It definitely is a nice benefit how we can integrate with AI and how we can collect data, real information data about search behavior of our users. So let me get back to the presentation. So the recap. So a lot of information, technically insights from data. We wanted to give you a small recap, of course, what you need to remember from this webinar. So again, big question: how we keep platforms visible from AI still a spotlight? That's a question we heard a lot in the past few weeks, more months. Is it about geo? Is it about AEO? Is it just SEO? What's being called? I think Rand Fishkin had a nice answer on that. So he called it still SEO, but instead of search engine optimization, he calls it search everywhere optimizations. And that's really the way it needs to go. It's people are using different ways of gathering information, and that's very interesting. Why we call it as well as not longer SEO, but 360-degree SEO. So we really have no longer a very focused look on the traditional SEO, but really a wider view on definitely AI search, social search, definitely within demographics, that the younger public is searches differently than, let's say, an older public. So in this case, it definitely worthwhile to see how people are looking, and this is also a part in our 360 SEO. So we had 4 key takeaways. Let's just give for each part a key takeaway, what you need to remember. So at first, the insights from the world that Clarissa showed. So you can see LLMs are rapidly changing how and where people are searching. You can see that it's data from worldwide. You can really see it. The second insight is about our own clients, mainly based in the Benelux. We can see there's a big impact in LLMs. It's getting more and more popular, but still it's yet to come. But we know it won't be long before it hits. So definitely The third part, we need to be prepared. So really make sure the platform is technically set up, start benchmarking, try to find as much information as possible, start to prepare your content. It's a kind of new reality, of course. It's a way of the traditional SEO, but of course it has different things to take into mind to deal with it, and that's really interesting to take into account. Last is about the UX integration in your own platform, in your own CMS. Very interesting to just gather information and honestly to show real cool stuff. To see this, to show immediately create a page to serve your users right away on their on what they really need, what they're really looking for. So that's actually a combination in improving your findability, but also gathering very helpful information. So to end, we want definitely to thank you for your information. We went quite hard, quite fast, but of course we wanted to share as much information, as much data as possible. And therefore, definitely you can reach out to us with any question, any thing, and definitely a geo audit. Also very interesting to see where your website is currently situated, located at, what can be improved, what can still be done. So definitely worth a shot. So, all right, we are at the end, and we saw a lot of questions in the chat. We are quite on time. We have still 10 minutes left to get back to you on some of the questions. And again, thanks for the questions, because it's very nice to have an interactive webinar, of course. So let's go. Clarissa, will you start with the first one?
Yes, let me see. So we can maybe this one. Yeah. So yeah, we can answer some of the questions. We have some questions on the right side. So some questions in the chat as well. And we also have like the questions section where you could ask a question. Maybe do this as the first one from Frank. Do you have any idea on how something like Google Ads or paid search actually will develop within these changes? Do you want to answer that one, Jens?
Yeah. That's actually an interesting one, because what we already see also with Google is really experimenting itself. So what we saw in the example, the AI mode, it started with an answering the question. We know it also from feature snippets. Google also tried to create an answer directly, and it resulted in a 0-click. But of course, it would mean with the AI overview, less space for organic results, page results. So that's the earning model of Google, of course. So we really see they are already starting implementing changes. So we saw some examples that we saw the AI mode answer is already on the third page place, that they immediately showed organic, then a paid result, and then the AI result. So definitely Google knows the impact on when they are really showing AI answers directly at the top position. And they will know, or they already know, it also has an impact on their Google Ads spend.
Yeah. And for Google, of course, it's always important to monetize. So if they want to make AI mode the standard, then they would need to include ads probably. So yeah, we have to see where that is going. Let me see. How do we click on answering? See a lot more questions. Maybe we can do another one.
I'm also looking for trying a nice one. All right, I see also some questions about insights from other industries or other countries. Of course, the data we showed is mainly from our own client data. We have more than 20 industries, so definitely see Gwen, we can help you if you're interested in a different area we didn't mention. Please reach out, then we can more data about it. About LLMs in USA, I also saw it appearing like there were before Europe. Of course, the integration was there. I think at the start of this year, we could also see that Google was not already in AI mode in Europe. Now, of course, starting from April, May, they are, but in the US, And that's also why Clarissa could show a lot of information, mainly from created from US, because they have a lot of information. They have really useful data from a year or even more. We try to do it with a little bit less data, definitely starting from this year, where we see that Europe is really starting to gaining LM traffic and market share. But again, we don't have that many US clients, but still there is a lot of information about that through also other data platforms like SEMrush or like other platforms that are dealing with this information.
Yes. Another question. Yeah, maybe this one is also interesting from Stefan, who's saying, why would I invest in this for my clients if AI just gives the answer right away? What is the win there? Yeah, why do we invest? Well, I think like search won't go away, right? Or yeah, I'm just answering it like search won't go away and people keep on searching. And of course, if people keep on searching, you still want to show up there as a brand, right? Because otherwise you may become invisible and that's not what you want. Still, people are searching for questions. So you really need to show up there as a brand. And yes, of course, for I think informational keywords or queries, then maybe it's not so much, it's not going to bring you so much anymore as it used to be. But for all other type of questions, when people are doing research, they're searching for products, they're searching for brands that can help them with a certain problem, then I think it's really important that as a brand that you will be showing up there. Yeah.
Yeah. And then David, also two interesting ones. So let me start with, did Jens say hardly that AI tools use bots though? Correct, in our own data, David. So in our own data for our clients that we saw in Belgium and Netherlands, we only saw Perplexity bot. But again, the data that Clarissa showed is also worldwide. So definitely in US will be different behavior. Bots explore more on their own, and it's probably will be a trend coming to Europe or Belgium as well. So definitely in this case, we only see Perplexity bot in our log files. But again, if I do the same exercise within a month or within 6 months, it could be that more AI bots use their own bots, of course, to gather information. And then the interesting one is also keep doing what's recommended anyway. So in traditional SEO, so definitely that's why we say geo needs to complement your SEO strategy. Definitely, that's why it's all still very important to have your technical basics right, to focus on the right content to serve. But again, we see some different real important factors, like for instance, authority, where it's still important to be there in listings, in lists that people know you are a famous or a well-known brand, a trustworthy brand, and that's also something really interesting to work on. That I'm quite sure you are an expert in your niche, your field, where it used to be that you just needed to create content to have a page for a query. This time it's really about creating a story, improving your the right website or company for your user.
All right, let me see. We have only 2 minutes, so let me see. Do you want to go to the last final question, Jens, or yeah?
If it's a really good one, then we can do.
Well, I have one that has a lot of votes here. So is there something that we absolutely shouldn't do when optimizing our SEO for AI?
All right. Who's going to start? Carissa, you or me?
Yeah, I can maybe start and then that's fine.
Yeah.
What we shouldn't do? Well, I think what we really shouldn't do is start producing more AI generated content. So of course we now have, we want to show up in AI, and we now also have AI that can help us to create content. And what I shouldn't do is go use AI, just go create content at scale that is all just completely written by AI, which we could do, of course. But I wouldn't do that because that's not going to help. Like I said, we really need the quality, the real data. And of course, we can use AI to optimize our process, to create content that is more personalized, that is including data. So use it in your process, but don't have your content written completely by AI. That's not, I don't think that's going to work or bring you anything. So that's my answer.
Yeah, maybe to add a question also from Michiel, who asked for any thoughts about the dead internet theory. So actually what Clarissa already explained, so to do everything through AI is not what we recommend. So definitely we have a great case. There's a great case about Klarna, who replaced all more than 800 people through AI. After a year, they reversed it. They started to hire again people because they really need a human touch, and that's also the case within this geo part. So definitely use AI. Make sure to gather information to use it in the most efficient way, but don't overuse it or use it the wrong way, because in that case, Google will also notice it. Your content will be punished for it, and then of course you are not where you want to be. So in this case, yeah, don't overuse AI and do it fully through AI. That's I think the main part. All right. No, I think it's 12 o'clock. Everyone is probably hungry. So thank you all for asking these questions, for attending. It was really nice to see we reached 300 people in the chat. It's really cool to see. And if you have any more questions, any thoughts, any inspiration that you need, please reach out to us. You can reach out to Carissa, to me, through our website, and we will more than happy to get back to you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Bye bye. Enjoy
Bye-bye.
your day. Bye bye.